Good morning and welcome back to the second hour of LoveBabz, LoveTalk. I'm Babz Rawls-Ivy. Y'all are listening to us at 103.5 WNHH. You know, we are live streaming on Facebook and YouTube and X and wherever else Harry has us signed up at. This morning, I get the pleasure of talking to Hamden's Assistant Chief, Shelly Carter. Good morning. How are you?
Hi, good morning. How are you?
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor, Miss Babz. I appreciate it. Can I call you Miss Babz? I'm not really sure what to call you.
You better call me Babz. That's what you better
Okay.
call me. Not Miss nothing. Congratulations on your new job.
Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor here to work here with the town of Hamden. It's great community, great opportunity to work with some amazing firefighters. So it's pretty cool, I have to admit.
I love it. I love it. That's such good news. And, you know, New Haven, we've got our very first assistant fire chief too.
Here, Samuel, she is phenomenal.
Yeah, so listen, you sisters on the fire department are on the come up. I love it.
Absolutely. We work hard for these jobs. We work hard to get qualified for these jobs. We just do what we do. And, you know, one day someone says, wait a minute, we need to hire this person. And it's great. It wasn't easy. You know, it was a challenge.
Nothing for us ever is, girl.
I know. When is that going to change? Let's see.
I don't. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. And weren't you on the Good Morning America for Mother's Day?
I was.
I watched the whole thing. I was so so exciting.
Shock of my life. When I tell you, just blown away by that insane event that day. Like literally, all the firefighters, it was like 7,500 people underneath my office, and I didn't hear one person. Like, how's that? But I have to be more situationally aware.
They pulled off it was a beautiful celebration. And I will tell you what moved me a lot. I mean, your family is beautiful, but your colleagues, they were so moving and so supportive and so singing your praises. And I thought that's a very nice space to be in.
Yeah, it was very nice. And, you know, I have to mention the chief of department, Chief Naples, and all the firefighters that worked closely with him to kind of lie to me constantly for like 2 weeks or however long. And then set me up in meetings that I had no business being at because they had to do work at our house. So I appreciate it. I'm honored, and it's okay that they lied. It's okay.
It was a beautiful celebration and richly deserved. Richly deserved. Richly. So you've got this girls future firefighter camp coming up.
Oh, I do. Yes. So I run a girls firefighter camp, something I created back in 2015.
Oh, is that old? I did not know it was that old.
Yes. We've been putting the fire service in the forefront of young ladies' minds for the last almost 10 years. And it's really because we need to teach young ladies to be bold and brave and strong. It's not necessarily to make firefighters. I know a lot of people think that's what it's really about, but honestly, it's really to let young ladies know that they can do anything they want to do if they put their minds to it. And so we bring in firefighters from across the country have worked in my camp. FDNY, New York, Boston, St. Louis. I mean, people come from all over. Firefighters, firewomen come from all over the country to pour into these young ladies, along with some amazing brother friends, firefighters of mine that come in to help with this program. It's phenomenal.
So walk me through what happens. Because I am fascinated by this, and I understand it's not just to get young girls interested in firefighting, but public safety as a whole.
Absolutely. So the program pretty much, the way it was created was all the work that I had done in the fire service, all the different jobs that I held. I was thinking, I didn't know this before I joined the fire department. Like I had no idea that I could be a fire marshal. I had no idea that I could be a fire code officer or a investigator, arson investigator. I didn't know that I could run into burning buildings. I didn't know that I could be the public officer, and be the media person. And so I have a degree in journalism, and that literally is kind of my passion. It's been my passion since high school. I worked on WQTQ for several years in high school and after high school, from Weaver High School in Hartford. And so I was thinking, how come these young ladies don't know this? But who's going to tell them? And that has to be me. And so my husband, who's phenomenal, he's my favorite person on earth. We were talking about it, and he was like, why don't you just create the camp, Shelly? And I was like, I don't know if I could do that. Here's the doubt tapping you on your shoulder. And it was literally just to show young ladies all the different career paths within the platform of the fire service. All the jobs that I held, being a lieutenant on the line or being a captain on the line, being, an executive officer, the hand of the chief in Hartford, being a fire marshal, all the jobs, being in the training division. So I said, okay, every job that I held, we're going to write a curriculum about that particular job. And we're going to show young ladies that they don't have to run into burning buildings their whole career. There's several different paths you can go: EMT, paramedicine. Now we take the girls to SESI, which is in Hartford. It's the simulation lab where all surgeons from around the world train and learn how to conduct surgeries, deliver babies, and pet CPR and pet care, and all these different things that really is based upon the platform of the fire service. Like who would have thought? And so the girls get some weeks is sometimes it's a week long. So this particular one that's coming up on the 26th is a weekend. And so it goes from Friday, Saturday, Sunday. This camp, we're doing extrication. So we're cutting cars up. We're teaching girls how to use the jaws of life.
Whoa. I'm coming to this camp.
Once we move patients out of the car, we're going to perform CPR. We're doing a lot of ropes and knots and ropes and knot training and teaching young ladies how to tie different types of knots. I know, like, who would have thought that learning how to tie particular types of knots had to do with the fire service?
Wow. That's stuff you learn in the Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts kind of stuff.
Right. But the fire, we need those life-saving types of safety knots
so that we can so much.
Or we can pull patients up, with rope. You ever see like on TV, they have the helicopter and they have the guy hanging off the helicopter and you got the patient in the basket and they're pulling them up out the way. That's all based upon ropes and knots. But if you don't know that stuff, you would never take that job. You know what I'm saying? So it's a whole lot, but the girls are inquisitive and they ask tons of questions. And usually first day they're scared and nervous and won't speak to anyone. By the time the camp is over, they're like, when's the next one? We're coming. So
how many girls do you take?
We max at about 25. We're still looking for young ladies. So I know it's last minute, but if you have a young lady that is available this weekend, all day Friday, all day Saturday, all day Sunday, from 8 to 4, we would love to have her. And you all would just have to go out to the website and print out the application and email it back to the website.
And is it free? Chief?
Yes. And so, the reason why it's free, there are a lot of camps around that parents have to pay $500, $1,000, $2,000, I don't know. My camp is free. It's always been free. And that's simply because I remember being a young kid in Hartford, single parent mom, who was working her tail off to just put food on the table. If I came home one day and said, Mom, I want to go to this camp that costs $1,000, she would have said, yeah, that's nice, and walked away. So not to say that people can't afford $1,000 camp. Some people can, but my audience is folks who literally the audience is the people that cannot may not be able to afford it. If you can afford it, great. If not, all are welcome. I just don't want to close it out to anyone to give them this opportunity.
So you've been doing this since 2015. Have young women come back and said, it made a difference, or I'm doing this, or or it has helped me in my life? What are you seeing?
So it's funny. I was at the National Fire Academy last year actually, and I was walking across the campus of the National Fire Academy. It's a very prestigious place. Like, as a firefighter, when you go to the National Academy, it puts you in a different mindset of leadership, and you just enjoy the campus, enjoy being in the space. I was walking across the campus, and a young lady, I heard Captain Carter, and I'm thinking, first of all, I wasn't a captain at the time; I was a chief, but somebody knew me before. And I'm looking around and see anyone else. She was like, Captain Carter. And I go, oh, hi. I didn't recognize the young lady. She goes, I was in your girls' camp. I was like, and you're here she's like, I'm taking a class here.
Oh my gosh.
Literally chills. And I'm going, oh, she's like, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Like, you opened my eyes to all these different things. And we do have some young ladies who have joined the fire service, whether career or volunteer. We have, through Girls Future Firefighter Camp, we have scholarshiped a couple young ladies to become EMTs. That's becoming an EMR. And we're working towards, the goal is to be able to scholarship our young ladies eventually, so they can either, if they choose to go in the fire service or law enforcement or whatever it is in public safety, we'll have the financial ability to back them in their educational base. But at first, my husband and I, we pay for this camp. It is not, we do thank the Lord for Good Morning America and all donations that we do receive, but it's not gobs of money. So Shelly's not getting rich off of this. What we are is whatever monies we receive goes right back into the program. It's not free to run, but it's free and it will always be free to the young ladies.
Now, is your husband a firefighter?
He's retired out of Hartford. He did 26 years in Hartford.
Wow. So y'all are a firefighting family. Are your kids firefighters or?
No, no, they're running. They're like, no, we're not doing that.
Oh, running will come back around.
I know it.
It comes back around. So, Chief Carter, does the TV shows that we watch help or hurt firefighting opportunity? Like, does it help with the public understanding what happens, like 911 and Chicago Fire and all the other fire shows that we love to watch on these shows? Does it help? Does it help with understanding what firefighters do and or what you don't do? Does it help?
It helps in a way, yes, because what I've noticed is there are more women on these TV shows.
They are.
Which is great, because there are women in the fire service. The fire service nationally is made up of 4% female, 96% male. The number fluctuates. Sometimes it goes up to 6-7%, but they kind of land at about 4% nationwide. Black women in the fire service, we are not really counted. We don't really even have a statistical number, unfortunately.
Really?
Smaller number, but it doesn't matter if you're Black, white, Hispanic, Asian. It doesn't matter. When we roll up on scene, the patient that we're going to take care of, or the house fire that we're about to, put the fire out, doesn't care who I am. Doesn't care if I'm a white male, Black male, female. Just help me. And so this television shows is great to show that, we come in all different shapes and sizes. Now I can't watch a lot of these shows because I know it's all so wrong.
Like they would never do that. I would never command my team to do that.
They would never be in that building when no one's there and it's exploding in 30 seconds. Like, so does that harm? Probably. But the fire service is we call ourselves the toolbox of the community. So you don't normally call the cops if you get, if you're feeling sick or ill. You don't normally call the police if you call the fire service. If your keys locked in the house, you don't really call the police. Normally, you call the fire service. If you get your arm stuck in something, you call the. You know what I'm saying? So
if your cat is in a tree, you call the fire. That's the one we all grew up seeing. That the firefighters would come and get your cat out of the tree.
Yep. And we've had those calls, and
those are real calls.
It's definitely real. I had a call where a gentleman just wanted a glass of water, honestly. So they called the fire service for everything. We're a jacket of all trades.
Wow. I had no idea. I had no idea that people call the fire department if they locked out of their car or stuff. I just never think about that.
Okay, we don't encourage that because there's legal matters. You know what I'm saying? So we can't just be breaking in people's cars as firefighters. It's against the law. But we've received calls like that, and we will manage it based upon the information that we receive.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So tell me a little bit about you, Shelly. You said you grew up in Hartford.
Yes. So
how did you find your way to firefighting? But go ahead, tell me your story.
Sure. So I was actually born in Philadelphia.
Okay.
We left when I was about 10 years old. Very much a culture shock because we were the only Black family in the community that we lived in the projects. We were the only Black family in that particular project. It's called Hill Creek Park. When came to Connecticut, moved to Hartford, there were no white people. We were like, wait, where's all the white people? Like, where are they at?
I never hear that about Connecticut. Like, no one ever says that about Connecticut.
Well, in the middle of the north end of Hartford, we didn't see any, and there were no white kids in school, really. So it was very much a culture shock. And I believe, and, based upon, how I feel as an adult now, is that this shift in culture prepared me to be the fire chief. And I'll get back to that statement. So coming into Connecticut, went to school, graduated from Weaver High School. I'm a Weaver Beaver in Hartford, and went to school to become a journalist. Really wanted to be Connie Chung. I don't know if you remember Connie Chung.
I know Connie Chung, yes.
Oh my gosh, she was like my idol back then. Like I wanted to be, and the reason why is because she was different.
Yeah.
Than else on the news. So I was like, I want her. Again, didn't realize it was going to land me here in the fire service. And so I went to college, got a degree in journalism.
Where'd you go to college?
Went to Middlesex Community College. They had a really robust communications department. Mm-hmm. Started working part-time at Channel 3, Channel 61. Worked with Gayle King at Channel 3, which is kind of crazy, right?
I know Gayle King too from those days. Yes.
Yeah. And my whole thought process at that time was, maybe this is not really something I want to do. Got married. Started having a family, was 29 years old, worked several different jobs, and was pushing my son down the street in a stroller. And my son saw the fire trucks. The guys were doing the truck checks on the ramp. And, he went crazy. He was about 3 years old. And the guy said, bring him over. And I was like, it's okay. You guys are super important. And I don't want to disturb you. And they were like, no, bring him over. So at that point, one of the firefighters there said, hey, you ever thought about becoming a firefighter? And I'm like, no, like, that's crazy. And he was like, no, they're looking for women. You should really consider it. And he literally talked to me for over an hour, explained to me why I should consider becoming a firefighter.
Wow.
Right. So I went home. There was someone at my house, and I said, hey, this guy was telling me about becoming a firefighter. And he said, you never passed the test anyway, Shelly. Really? And so I was a little bothered by that.
But is this husband number one? Because this don't sound like husband number two. I'm just saying, I don't know you, Shelly, but it don't sound like it don't sound like the current husband. So I don't.
Well, he's no longer husband number one. He's gone. But I was like, I need to prove this point. Now, at this point, you can't challenge Black women. I don't know why people do that.
No. Yeah.
So my sister said, Shelly, take the test. I studied for the police test because they had police and fire testing at the same exact time. I studied for police tests. Went and got books for the police test. I was like, well, I guess I'd rather get shot at than run into a burning building. And that's really was my thought process back then. Never bought a book for the fireside, never opened a book, never studied anything for the fireside, and came out better on the fire test.
Wow.
I
Because that
was
was
like,
meant to be.
so I'm a Christian. I believe God has a plan.
Mm-hmm.
And the plan was for me to be here. And so I went to drill school. I was hired, went to drill school. It was very challenging. As I often say, it's the hardest thing I've ever done outside of giving birth to my children. 16 weeks of boot camp training.
Woo!
Um, I kind of thought that I was in decent shape back then. And I know I was like, holy cow. But I was determined to get on this job and to learn this job. Now, mind you, I didn't know anyone in the fire service. I didn't know anyone except for the guy that was standing on the ramp. That literally was it. And in our interaction, that was about an hour. So I really came in with no knowledge, like red trucks and sirens. That's all I knew. Um, and it was very scary. It was very scary. And thus I began to learn the job once I got into the career path. And when after so many years of being on the job, I said, wait a minute, I don't want any young women or young woman to be Shelly if I can help it. And that is scared. Every time I went to drill school, I used to vomit getting out of my car, going to drill school,
Wow.
and I would vomit every morning because I was so scared. Scared of two things: of not knowing this industry that I'm about to walk into, and failing. I didn't want to fail. And so I worked my tail off and became a Hartford firefighter, which was one of the proudest moments of my life. And began to learn and grow in the fire service, becoming one of the first 2 female drivers in the city's history. Because I was like, wait, how come women don't drive trucks? And I'm going to learn how to do this. And
Whoa.
I learned how to become an engine driver with the help of this gentleman. His name is firefighter Katie Wallen. He's phenomenal. He taught me absolutely everything. And then after I was a driver for a while, I became a lieutenant in the fire marshal's office. And the story about me becoming a lieutenant, there's testing processes that you have to go through in the fire marshal's office. Investigations, I did phenomenal, and code enforcement, not so much. And so I failed, and I failed hard.
Ooh.
And like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Went back to the class, graduated and passed all my code enforcement classes, and then became a lieutenant in the fire marshal's office. Stayed there for a while and said, okay, time for me to expand. At this point, I probably had a bachelor's degree in fire administration. So I'm really sinking my teeth into this industry and really learning what I need to do to be an effective leader in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And a captain, took the testing process, went in the testing process, became a captain on the line. So I went back to the line. I went back into running into burning buildings, which, yeah, right. I was like, oh, I remember my first day, it was 24 hours, was at Station 5. My first 24 hours, I was like, what the heck was I thinking? But again, I wasn't going to fail and I wasn't going to quit. So we literally had 24 calls in a 24-hour period. It was crazy that day. But I was like, I'm going to keep pushing and I'm going to keep moving forward because I know what the goal is. The goal is to become a chief officer. And at that point in my, I knew that I had prepared myself to land in a chief's position. So it's just a matter of just working towards getting that goal. So became a captain, stayed there for a while and was like, okay, Hartford has had enough of Shelly Carter. It's time for me to spread my wings. And was hired as the operations and training manager for the Division of Emergency Management and Homeland Security.
Oh.
Right. At this point, I had a master's degree in public administration and knew that I could run a government. I was like, okay, let me work on that on the state level at this point, So I had a lot of certifications and degrees and all these leadership um, backgrounds, and I was like, I'm headed in the direction that I want to be, and that's. And then I got the phone call from the state of Connecticut asking me if I'd like to be the fire chief for DDS Fire and Emergency Services, becoming the first Black female fire chief in all of New England. And I was like, absolutely yes. And so, yeah, I worked there under the direction of Jake Menke, who's phenomenal boss at the time, and he's my friend at this point. But he guided me and gave me direction and said, "This is your department. You run it how you see fit." And I did exactly that. I did what I was hired to do, and I guess being noticed at the state level, Hamden was like, "Uh-oh, what we got over there?" And so I was contacted and was able to get a secure spot here as the assistant chief of Hamden.
I love it. So do you live in Hamden? Does Hamden have the requirement that there's public safety people living in the?
No, I live in Meriden, but I'm
Oh,
in at the time, so I'm not too far away.
no, that's not too far. That's not too far.
Yeah.
That's not too far. So what is the dream now? I mean, you're new to this, so maybe you don't want to say what your dream is further, but I mean, you're a young woman, you're young, so you've got a lot of career time ahead of you.
Mm-hmm. My goal at this point, first of all, is to really embed myself in the town of Hamden, really
I
get
love
to
that.
know the community, know the government here. I am the assistant chief, so assist my current boss, making sure that the department is run efficiently and effectively, show my true leadership capabilities, and be there for when the community needs me. And my department, my firefighters are phenomenal. I remember going to my very first fire here in Hamden and thinking, how do they do this here? Because I had been in Hartford for so long, it's in my blood, right? When I watched our firefighters here in Hamden put the fire out that particular, sorry, I was blown away. I was like, you guys have all the operational genius that you need to have. I love what I saw when it came to the Hamden firefighters. So this community has great firefighters that will do the job that they are hired to do, which I'm very proud to say. And to be honest with you, I would not say that if I did not mean that. I'd say it's nice, but I'm telling you, like the ability to putting these fires out and to do their job operationally has been phenomenal. And then what's next? I'm working on my doctorate degree.
Really?
Ma'am, I'm getting a doctorate in critical infrastructure and emergency management.
I love it.
I don't know where that's going to land me. I'm sure Hamden has a place for me, as far as being the assistant chief, and that's kind of where I'm embedded in right now. So
I think you might have to be at the collegiate level and teach.
Ooh,
Just my thought, because
yes,
I'm sure when you were coming up, there were no teachers who looked like you.
not at all. Actually,
So
my high school guidance counselor told me not to go to college.
mine did too.
Did she?
Uh-huh.
Or
I went to Eli Whitney, so yeah,
uh,
my mother had to come to the school and deal with that. Now I hold a bachelor's and a master's and a master's, and I'm about to go to law school. So
right? That's what we do. That's what we do.
people tell us all kinds of stuff. You're like, we don't listen.
Right. And why should we?
We don't listen.
Taking it back to me saying, I don't want there to ever be another Shelly Carter when coming onto the job. That's why Girls Future Firefighter Camp was created. I want young ladies to know before they arrive day one what the equipment is, what it feels like, what it looks like, what it smells like. I want them to know what a firehouse looks like. I want them to know the chain of command, the ability to have to maintain or obtain education on the job, all of the different career paths. There's a need to know, especially I would say in the Black community, most people don't know what we do.
Oh, I agree. I agree. I have a good friend, retired firefighter Tinney, and he's always talking about they were doing a program, a public safety kind of experience at the local high school here in New Haven at Hill House. I don't know if it's still up and running. It might have some budgetary concerns, but But he was like, yeah, it's a daunting thing to know that people don't really know what public safety is, and but they know the frontline stuff of a police officer and
Right.
firefighter, but they don't really know that you could have a real career in this.
Yeah. Well, I raised five amazing sons,
Wow.
put two through college. My oldest is in the Air Force. I have the next one graduating from Carnegie Mellon University, and he's at Yale Divinity School now. And then I have another one that's at Western New England, who's in school for journalism. And I have a set of twins who are crazy, but they are they are at Xavier High School in Middletown. Like, the fire service has afforded me the opportunity to build a family and to buy homes and cars and to have financial stability. And so why not join the fire? Like, I don't, I understand that it's hard and difficult, but what isn't hard and difficult? Like, what's worth having that's not difficult? But over time, as you begin to learn the fire service and learn the family dynamics of the fire service, I love what we do. I love that we show up and we help people. I love that we can teach kids stop, drop, and roll. I love those.
I remember learning that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I love walking into a elementary school or a high school and they go, "So are you the chief?" And there's young ladies that go, "Man, how'd you get to do that?" You know what I'm saying? And it's simply because I took the dare of saying, "Hey, I know you don't want me to do this, but I'm going to give it a try." And I could not be happier. This is really the best job for me.
I love it. So the Girls Future Firefighter Camp is in Bloomfield.
Yes,
It's young ladies between the ages of 13 and 18. It's a pathway to a career in public safety. It's Friday, July 26th from 8 to 4, Saturday, July 27th, 8 to 4, and Sunday, July 28th, 8 to 12, and then 1 o'clock there's a graduation. So
yes,
if people are interested, they can reach out to you at Girls Future Firefighter Camp at gmail.com. Now,
yes,
there's a website too. Is that the same as the website?
yes. Yep. Just Google Girls Future Firefighter Camp and you'll find our website. And the application is embedded in the enrollment section of the website.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I hope that
And you can come by
girls
and
come out.
try on. You can come by, put you on the truck, put you on a ladder on the third floor.
Okay.
Fun. Have the time of your life, I'm telling you.
I'm a little long in the tooth to be a firefighter, but
It's all good.
but I am intrigued by this commitment to bringing young girls, particularly and specifically girls of color, an opportunity to sort of experience something that they probably wouldn't get the opportunity to experience. Because how do you know about becoming a firefighter if no one ever exposes you to it?
Exactly. That is
You
my
know,
point. That's the reason why I was placed here. I believe that's God's plan. So let
and
me
then to
just do.
see you
Yeah.
is just icing on the cake.
Thank you. Thank you. No, I love it. And the girls love it too. So even if you have a young lady that's like, I don't want to do that, bring her in.
I'm gonna look far and wide. I posted up on my social media site, so I will keep posting it all the next couple of days. Like, if y'all know somebody,
Yeah, yeah.
young girls, 13 to 18, commit to getting them there and getting them back. And it's free. I'm sure you're feeding them.
Yep, yep. We feed them. The day is breakfast. We have breakfast snacks, and then we have, work, and then we have a wonderful lunch by Lily's Soul Food Restaurant. And
Oh,
Lily's be hooking us up. There's some fried chicken and some macaroni and cheese on Sunday. I'm telling you, Andre Lilly, the owner there, has been a phenomenal friend of our camp. But yeah, we feed our young ladies, and then they usually get to go home with a bunch of free stuff and food, and they're tired and exhausted. So, mom, if you want to get your young lady tired and exhausted, drop her off at the camp. The other part to that is we are transporting young ladies from Hamden and from
oh,
Meriden.
okay, okay.
If
So that
if
that
you
works
have a young
out.
lady, needs transportation from Hamden or Meriden, please add that to the application.
Okay. It has been a pleasure to talk to you, Chief Carter. I'm so delighted to have met you. I can't wait to meet you in real life.
Yes,
Congratulations. I'm
thank
so excited. Karima Mickens, the Hamden town clerk, connected us
yes, ma'am.
because I saw your story on Good Morning America and I was so proud. And I don't even know you, but I was so proud.
Yeah, yeah. Were you jumping up and down too? Because I was jumping up and down. I was like, this is crazy.
So congratulations on all your success.
Thank you.
And good luck on the doctoral studies. You will be
Mm,
fabulous.
thank
And
you.
I hope to meet you in real life.
All right. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. It's an honor. And if you ever need anything from me or the Hamden Fire Department, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Thank you very much. I will give you a call. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
All
All right.
right. Thank you, Harry. And y'all have a nice day. And I will see y'all tomorrow. Mm-hmm.